been a long day at work. Man, install all week, running up and down 20 flights of stairs. I think my little watch said I did almost 18,000 steps today and 37 flights of stairs. My feet hurt. Enough whining. Welcome to the Curved Cabinets of Bimbo, episode number 20. Assembly tips, jig tricks, and the amazing Cleat Master 4000. And that's all in this video. I use one little tiny 1/4-inch jig about 4 different ways, and I'm going to show you why, how, and all that neat stuff. And then the Cleat Master 4000's my invention for hanging drawer glides, Blumotion drawer glides, because sometimes you need to make up your own stuff. All right, well, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed, and the power just went out. Oh my God, I forgot to pay the power bill. Oh, it's back on again. Yay! All right, well, enjoy the video. I'll see you in a bit. Alright, holy cow. Hey everybody, Mr. Kevin here, and welcome back. I'm working on my bench, working on the Master Vanities for the Curved Cabinets of Bimbo. Yesterday I put the sides on, put the top and bottom in, which I had to modify a little bit because of the angle of this right here. I put the big cleats in the back with this opening where all the, this is where all the plumbing's going to go through. So it's going to get a bank of drawers here and a bank of drawers over there. It's going to have a huge sink here, so this drawer won't work. This one right here won't work because of the plumbing. So the bottom curved drawer is going to work. And so this will be a 7-drawer vanity. Voila. So I found yesterday that using the template that I have for these guys actually works for laying out the miters. Because how are you going to lay that out? You know, you're going to get it in here. These ones were easy because I put them up on top and I marked them and I cut them on the chop saw and I disc sanded them to fit in the opening. The bottom one was easy too. I just kind of went from underneath and I marked the top. But the middle ones are a little bit of a pain in the butt. So this jig here, which is we had for a long time, and we do a lot of flush trimming. I actually use this little 1/4-inch jig to flush trim all these. And these right here are what's going to hold up the middle rails. Because the middle rails being so small and skinny and curved, if anybody bumped into them or anything or did anything weird, pushed down on them, they would break. So just with 2 screws in them, that wouldn't be good holding the whole thing in. So I had to make like a backup plate, whatever you want to call it. This is going to go in to this cabinet. But there's a bit of a puzzle to this whole thing. And I'll show you in a minute. So I made these the same way I made the top and bottom with the table saw, and I just ran it to a certain line, stopped it. You can see the saw curve back there. And I bandsawed this to the template, and I flush trimmed using this template. All right. So back to what we were talking about originally, when I totally forgot what I was talking about, was using this template to figure out the miter for these. And it's really simple. The first thing when you go to do all your moldings, make sure you're sanding your parts first. I sanded the top and the bottom and the face. So I sanded them with 150. I sanded them by hand with 150, and I eased the edges on the top and bottom and some of the backs so they're not sharp. All right, we got that. So what we're going to do first, I'm just going to actually hold this up in here. And you kind of want to get it as centered as possible with the ends and all that. But this 90-degree squareness from the back is the same as this style right here. And that's what we want. So we got to remember that this thing is not the same as the opening. This right here fills up that space perfectly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one of my new pencils that I already broke. And I'm going to mark that right on there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and mark this right here. Okay, now we have these lines right here, right? That's our reference mark, and I'm going to cut like an 1/8 inch wide of that, and I'm going to disc sand it until it fits. So I'm going to cut this about a 1/16 inch on this side and a 1/16 fat on this side so I can adjust it, because who knows how it's going to go in there. So that's just a reference mark, and it's just, that's where you start, because this square here is the same as this angle here. And to get this angle going on something that's square, it gives you that mark right there. Another thing I found out yesterday is the ass end of this thing's got to get taken off. So you got to take a little bit off the back here. Right about there. Let's see. See that little mark? That's got to go. You got to grind that back, because what happens is it hits the plywood, and that ain't no good. And I kind of knew that from the last job I did that was curved, and I had to do all sorts of weird wackiness. So when I was doing this yesterday, and I got this whole thing assembled yesterday in probably 6.5, 7 hours. Put the sides on, put the cleats in, milled the cleats, pocket screwed everything in, put the bottom on, put the top on, made a bunch of stands because I had to make basically little feet to hold this thing up. So I had to make 4 of these stupid little feet that actually get screwed onto the bottom of this, so it'll help hold it up. And yeah, which pulls my carpet everywhere and does weird things, but I had to make those. I got a bazillion of these things that I milled yesterday and pocket screwed together. These are all the cleats for all the drawers that go right in here. And there's 24 of them damn things. Actually, I got to make 4 more because I forgot about this one. Good golly, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, right? And I forgot those, and I got to make more. Sheesh. Made some little blocks that I'm going to use to help hold things up. These are 10 3/8. And I made some other blocks back here that are like 19 7/8. Put them on there like that, right? And then just clamp them on there. And what that's going to do is going to help hold this guy up. And this guy is the backer basically for these pieces right here. So I can pocket screw them on. See, I pocket screwed all these back on there. So I have something pretty sturdy in here that'll help hold it level for one. But the hard part is trying to get it in. How do you get that damn thing in there? Put it in there and you come out there and you gotta turn it and flip it around and boom. There you go. And that's how that works. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully it'll hold itself up for a minute. And I'm going to pocket screw this on from the inside. I guess it doesn't really matter how I would have put them in there. But I made the pocket screws from underneath. So if you ever pull the drawer out, you'll be amazed on how it holds itself up. I don't know why I did that. It just makes my life harder. I'm stupid. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these on the chop saw. I'm going to pocket screw all this stuff into place. After I put the bottom one in, I'm going to do the top one. I'm going to put the whole thing together first. So I'm going to cut this and fit it. And then I'm going to do the next stage, which will be switch these out, put these in, and do the exact same thing again. That way it gives me a little bit of practice on what I need to do and all that stuff. So yeah, and that's where we're at. So I made a few things to help me hold things up. So the 10 3/8 blocks that we use to hold up this here Johnson right here, to pocket screw it on the sides of the face frame, I also used to hold this up here because this was a little bowed. And so I just slid one in underneath it just to keep, that plywood flat. As flat as I can make it because it was a little bit bowed. The other thing I did is I made these little plywood blocks that were the exact same size as this, 10 1/16. For this opening here, so I can make this rail and that rail exactly the same. And yeah, so I clamp one here, and I spring clamped a couple of pieces on over here, so I get everything where it needs to be. All right. Sheesh. So we got the miter, and that little trick with the jig worked pretty good. And then we have to relieve the back right there. See that? On both sides. This one's actually a little bigger because it was sticking out farther. And that all has to do with the jig and the way, this is all made and everything. I try to make them all the same exact way. So hopefully on the next one, when I come up here, it's the exact same problem. This side has to be, the back has to be removed a little bit more than this side does. I used this stand that we used over there to hold that up. I made a bunch of little plywood things that are the same distance as this, so I can put that down into it. God, there it goes. And I'm going to do the exact same thing here from whatever that is. Yeah, so it all works out the same. All right, well, there you go. We're making progress. Hopefully, by the end of the day, this will all be done, and I'll be starting to put all the cleats in. Oh, 9 billion cleats. And hopefully, by the end of the day, all these will be in, and tomorrow we'll be doing drawers. All right, welcome back to the curved cabinets of Bembo. So we're hanging the drawer glides. And I've done this a million times. You've seen me do it a bunch of times. And you got your square set the way you want it. And you just put the front of this thing in there. Boom, bang, bang. Easy cheesy. Usually, I have sides that are in here, not just cleats. I didn't want this thing to weigh 4,000 pounds because it's already got 2.5 sheets of plywood in it. So it's already heavy. So I put cleats everywhere. So I'm going to have cleats down here for the bottom drawer and cleats for all these drawers here. And cleat, cleat, cleat. Everything's cleated out. So I didn't want to keep cutting plywood to hold the cleats up and screw them in because this is like 10 inches wide and my big ass has a hard time getting in there. So what I did was I made a cradle. Right there, a little tiny cradle. And all I did was take the width of the cleat and make a piece of poplar. Took 2 scrap pieces of cherry that I had laying in the bucket over there and screwed them down. And the way this works is you take this. You ready? Drum roll, please. Make things faster, make things better, and make it so my old ass can hold something up and put a screw in it at the same time without getting in there and doing all this. I made one of these. Never seen one before. I just thought about it as I was doing it. I'm like, hey, I can take this guy in here, put it in there like that, and use that as a cradle to hold things up. And whether you're in the front or all the way in the back, it just kind of holds things up. Simple, quick, and easy, right? So you take this guy right here, your Blumotion glides. That's all I use. I use these when I put the cleats in to put under there. So it would actually, here, I'm going to do this one over here. So the spacing from this cleat here is whatever that thickness is, all right? And I just take this and I slide it through. I put it in like that. Then we take this thing right here, push it back to where we want it. Boom, that's where it belongs because these are inset. They go back away. All right, and it's there, that's where we want it. I'm gonna put a screw in it right there in the middle. And I usually pre-drill it, but I'm not for this demonstration. All right, so that one's in. Let me take this one, we do the exact same thing. Put that back there. Okay, so that is now to this depth. Like that. Just like that one is. Pretty good. And there it is. And we'll shove them all the way to the back like this. And we'll put the rest in there in 2 shakes of lamb's tail. That way you don't have to hold up anything. You don't have to put blocks underneath, clamp it, tape it, or do anything craziness like that. Easy. It holds it up for you. And when you're done, you just slide it out. So you take it like this. And you just twist it in there. Twist it like that, and it holds it up. So if you have cleats on either side and you got to hang a bunch of drawer glides like this, there you go. Simple, quick, and easy. There it is. Happy 2-Tip Tuesday on a Thursday. It's an H. Or it's a Blumotion glide, whatever. So you can make it any size you want. As long as you make the centerpiece the size of your cleat. There you go. You have a 3rd and 4th hand. So, and check it with my square. Just make sure it's kind of square. And it's on the money. So you got to make sure when you do that your cleats are perfectly in there, plumb and square and beautiful and just the way they should be. And they are, because you want to do that and make sure everything's right. And there you go. Simple. The Cleat Master 4000. It's a Blumotion drawer glide holder upper thingamajigger bobber. Patent pending. Hey everybody, we're getting there. Here is one of the master bathroom vanities. Have all the drawers in, all the soft closed drawers, and everything's fit and ready to go. Made the center, golly, I can't even get it out. Made the center drawer and it's all in there, and I had to cut this out here. I don't know if you can see that or not. This is where the plumbing goes. So these are going to be like false fronts right here. The reason is there's plumbing and the sink comes down and all that other garbage. So we got that there. All the drawers are in, ready to go. We have to do a little bit of adjusting. But what I got to do now is I have to build this thing out here, this bottom drawer. I have to actually build a little curve situation in here so I can put the drawer front on it. Because I wasn't about to make a curved drawer front because they're inset and you'd never make it happen. I've done it before and it doesn't come out right and it just looks terrible. So I'm just adding little spacers out here to come out here so the drawer front will go on there and mount to it. All right, so what I did is I took the old jig that we had that we made all this stuff originally with in the first place, and I measured back from the center line here to this face, and that's 4 inches. What I did is I just took this straight edge right here, set it at 4 inches. Got my straight line here marked on the very end, I'll check these pieces here. They're 33, and I marked them right there in the center. Put a little line in there. And all I do now is just line up the center with the center, which is right here. Take this puppy here and just clamp it down. Do the same on this side. Let me get my hand to work. Oh. Just double check, make sure it's against the straight edge. And then all we're going to do is take this and just trace it out. And I put a few little lines in there so I know where the line is. And then all I'm going to do now is just bandsaw it out on the bandsaw and then flush trim it to the jig like we did everything else. There you go. After I get the first one made, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to duplicate it on all the rest using the same piece, same one, same everything. That way they all come out the same. So I'm going to flush one to the jig, and then I'm going to take all the other three and I'm going to flush trim them to the very first one. All right. And then you mark on the top with an X so you know which way is up. So that way they're all exactly up and exactly the same, and they're patterned exactly the same, and they'll all be the same. That's kind of the same thing, you know. All right, so we have our double stick tape down there because I'd rather do that than put a screw in these things. I have my center line still on there. I didn't bandsaw that off. But we bandsawed all the rest of it. So what we're going to do now is just kind of butt that into that back. Good golly, it's all very sticky. All right, so that's all butted in there, and I'm going to just drop it down there, and I'm going to squeeze it down. Get the center line, line up with the center line. I have to set this so the bearing is where it needs to be on the little tiny jig. All right, so it just barely covers the whole thing. Oh my goodness. All right, we're all ready to go. Hopefully this works. Keep your fingers crossed. Well, I guess you got to plug it in. All right, here we go. All right, that was messy. So we have one down and three more to go. And that's how you go about making little round things on a jig. So always save your jigs, never throw them away, because you can use them for a lot of things. You never know when you might need a curved jig. You never know. All right, yesterday I made the little pieces here, and I showed you how to flush trim them to the jig and all that. I made some little ribs in there so I can actually screw it from the back. This here is attached from the inside here. So there's actually screws inside here. So I can unscrew this whole thing, and this entire drawer front mechanism thing is going to come off in one piece. And I'll stain this the same color as the drawer front. And then when I get done with it, I'll just screw it all back on there and put it in place and close it up, and there we go. This actually helps hold the drawer front itself. It keeps it more stable and keeps it from twisting and doing weird things. If you just make a curved front drawer and then attach something to them, you got this curve, which is going to act weird, and this one, which is going to act weird since it has a raised panel in it, and it's, you know, it looks like this over here. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on. So I do this, and then I'm going to put holes in here, and I'm going to attach this to the back of the raised panel or the face frame, one or the other. Or I might just actually take this here and pocket screw it onto, can you see this over here? So it has to be attached in here because these, if you guys can see that, see where the drawer front screws are? They're way up here because it has to get into this frame here. So that's important. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm putting cleats in here basically to do the same thing. I'm going to drill holes in here in the top and bottom somewhere, and probably right about here in between each pocket screw, and then we're just going to screw from the back of these into the face frame, put all the little pieces of paper down that I did before, get it all centered and fit in there and screw it on there, and it's done. Okay, we put the cleats in, and the lumber guy just showed up with all my cherry. I got some big old thick cherry. Check it out. Check this out. Yeah. This is one piece of two 10-foot boards that were this wide, and I have to make curved molding out of this. And the curved molding I'm making, God, it even smells good. It's going to be this right here, and that is going to go on here. So there's going to be this bottom rail, and here's the molding right here, and that's what it's going to look like in there. So this big old curved piece right here, I have to bandsaw out, flush trim, and then I have to shape that to make it look like this. That's going to be exciting because that's all done freehand. And if you watch the other videos, it's probably already been on there once, but these are longer. The other ones were short. You know, they're only like, 18 inches long. These damn things are 40. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. So I put the cleats in, all little backer cleats. And what I was doing now is I was just taking this piece of 1.5 inches and I'm just marking everything like right here. And the reason I'm doing that and putting a line there is what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole like right there. So I'm just trying to figure out where all the rails go. And as I was doing that, this one seemed a little strange because the board was sticking way the hell out. And I'm like, what the hell's going on there? I guess when I pocket screwed it on there, these all have just a little bit of a lip and this one doesn't. And somehow it came forward like 1/8 of an inch. Not good. So I'm going to take this out and shove it back there. But for the most part, this is what I'm doing here. I'm just marking these things like this. So we got everything marked. I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes where I want them. This section here is actually screwed on from the back. So I'm going to remove all this. And I'm going to put pocket screws underneath here and pocket screw this on because this face frame actually comes to right there. See that line? Boom. So I can't really get a little hole in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this from this drawer front here. And then I'm going to pocket screw from the inside. And then I'll put it back on once the whole thing's all built and done. And we'll have it all done. I'm about 90% done with the master bathroom here at the Curved Cabinets of Bembo. I have one more to build after this. The second one I'm going to build, I'm just going to set up 2 cameras and just start building. Because all the parts are made, all I have to do is assemble stuff. So and maybe that'll come out. Maybe people like to see that instead of me yapping through the whole thing. Anyway, all right, well, I'm going to get to work now. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, and you have an awesome day.
Subscribe now.
Yeah, I'm all trying to be smart and actually kind of being stupid. Sheesh. What in the flange of bananas in it? What the hell's going on with that thing? Nothing wrong with that piece of shit. So yesterday I made these curved pieces right here. And God, this thing is blinding me right in the eyeball. I'm gonna merve. So I'm gonna mill all the sheesh to get all this in one stinking flesh line face thing. All these things you got to think about, and I don't really think about anything except doing my woodworking, and then I try to film it. It becomes a nightmare. Nobody watches anyway, so whatever. Just me and you here, that's all. That's been my gizmo lately. I go, I should use a 24. 18 might work, and it won't. And then this one's in with the 24s, and it's 18. See what I mean? Somebody's up there f***ing with me. Somebody up there messing with me. And that says right there. Soda water.